Okay, so let's learn to first draw some supplies, okay? Now, before drawing supplies, understand what supply is, right? Like we discussed in the previous video. So, understanding what supply is. Now, when you look at this area here, right? Prices were going higher. They got higher, 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 reached this area and had a dramatic drop. Okay, once that had a dramatic drop, would you say that area is a supply? I want you to always refer to things emotionally. When things are flying up sky high like this, all green bars just shooting up hundreds of pips and then shooting down instantly, dramatically like that, do you think that grabs people's attention? Okay? I want you to remember stuff like that. I want you to always look at the situation emotionally and think, is it actually creating panic in the market? Take a look at this. Markets are coming down very, very drastically, indicating buyers are not there so much, right? Compared to the buyers, the sellers came down so drastically, which also means there's not enough buyers to buy that iPhone. Hence, they need to keep reducing the price. Now, how much did they reduce the price? How much is the key? Did they reduce it a little bit more, or a lot? Now, think always like this. Now, what does it mean, a little bit or a lot? Does it have to do with the number of pips? Okay, so if I say from here to here, okay, that's going from 68, 70, so that's 60 pips wide. Okay, so is 60 pips a lot? What does the word a lot mean? Okay, so when I'm saying think emotionally, the reason why this catches our eye, it's because compared to everything else on the left that we see, this is more visible, isn't it? That's what a lot means. Compared to what else you see, that sticks out. Make sense? So keep that in mind. When you see this green upward movement, now that's pretty big move too. But compared to the red candles, that's nothing. Even though it's aggressive and it's gone up quite a bit, but compared to the red candles, it's nothing. When we say this is, wow, that's a lot, this green bar is up here. Why? Because compared to surrounding situations, that is clearly visible. That's how emotions work. This is clearly visible to the naked eye. It's like, oh yeah, I can see it. That concept of, oh yeah, I can see it, everybody in the world is like, I remember that price. I remember when we were here and then the news kicked in and the whole world went chaotic. Okay? So think of it emotionally. So let's do some supplies. Now, let's do some examples, okay, of supplies. Supplies in the general concept of drawing is rise, base, and drop. Okay, this is the general terminology of what is a supply, which means the market goes up dramatically, pauses a bit, and drops dramatically. Rise, base, drop. Okay, another option of a supply is drop, base, drop. Okay, you might have been already familiar with these terminologies, but we're gonna get to some meaty stuff now. Okay, so these are two supply areas. So what people consider a supply in this industry is, that's a supply. That area is important because there's something about that price, and also this area is important. Okay, very similarly to how we teach our support and resistance, right? How much dramatic effect is there? How affected are people psychologically? How much of that price do people remember in the future? Now, when we do it this way, and we say, okay, that's the key. We're gonna understand how supply works. So there's two options, rise, base, drop. Okay, so you don't have to remember these words, rise, base, drop. You don't have to remember that because you understand the logic of why a supply is there. It's because something happens at this price that they have to discount it so suddenly. Always remember at what area do they discount it so aggressively. That means that price, people human beings do remember that price and they try to trade that price yet once again. Okay? Now, why is supply and demand, working pretty well in the industry? Why does it work so well? Because supply and demand works on this general concept, which the average trader cannot do in real life, but it works in supply and demand. Now, if you take a look at this supply right here, okay? So this is a drop, a base, a drop, right? Dramatic, right? It stops there for a moment. And if we extend this out and say, okay, that is our supply, and I'm just going to put a rough box around it, then the sells occur around this area, right? That's the general concept of how do you trade a supply. But think of it this way. If you do not have supply and demand and you're just looking at the markets with bare bones, how many people actually sell in a rising market? Nobody, right? They, in fact, when the market rises, they join the buys. This is why supply and demand works so well, because it actually makes you think logically. Logically as in, if price fell from there, it can fall again. Now, here's the problem. The word can fall again comes in. So there's no logic to it. It's just the right way of thinking, which means you can only sell if there's buyers. And the more dramatic the buyers are coming in, the more people will buy. Hence, if you sell to the buyers, you make money. Correct? You cannot sell with sellers, right? What happens when this big move down here crashes? Who takes the sell from up here? No one. Very few people. Most people take the sells down here. They're too late to the game. This is one advantage supply and demand has over every system or strategy on the internet out there. It puts you ahead of the game. However, with the flaw of, do you know when? Do you know how? Do you know when, which area is actually real supply, which one I can rely on and not rely on? This is where the missing link is happening around the internet. Okay, so this is your supply example. Let's take a look at another supply example. Okay, now you know why supply and demand has a basis in the market, why it works pretty well. Take a look at this one here. Here is a mini rise. Okay, base. Okay, 2 candles stopped right here, 2 candles right there, and then followed by a drop. Now, one can argue, well, that's not dramatic enough. How do I know that this price, if I draw it like that, is going to be fruitful for me? How do I know that's going to work? We don't know that, right? Because that's the missing link. That's the missing link. Do I keep selling it from here? What about this one? Doesn't this look like a very good rise base drop kind of thing right there? The market goes up and up and up and then drops dramatically. That's definitely emotional. How come that doesn't work? The market reacts from it slowly. Okay, so the general question, like I said, if you'll see this around the internet quite a bit, people will say, well, it's a numbers game. So we're going to help you fix that. If you are a supply and demand trader, I'm going to help you look at it in a whole different way. And if you aren't, well, this is going to be new education for you to learn. And it's good. Supply and demand is a good concept to learn. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. Take a look at this. Here's a mini rise. We're working with supply still. Take a look at this one here. We got a small drop, got a small base sideways, a few candles here sideways, followed by further drop. Now, how in the world do I know if this area is going to work in the future? How do I know where to keep my stop losses? How do I know my sell, if the price comes back to this area, is going to work? Okay, if you notice something interesting here, there's few things happening in this market. Buyer's market. Buyers going aggressive once, slows down twice, slows down third time, no higher high, slows down more. But yet, for those buyers who do not know the buy is over, they still look at this area as, that's support equals resistance for me. They still look at this as a buy. While all the MPA students are looking at this as, looks like the market wants to turn around. So we got a buy and a sell battle happening. Well, isn't that a money spot? Using this money spot concept, putting it together with supply and demand gives you that edge that tells you and helps you with timing of it. You know, that's why we put timing as a much later course, because you can't do timing if you don't have all the tools available to you, right? So I'm glad you guys are patient. Those of you who are watching this right now, you guys are taking it step by step. And I cannot thank you enough for trusting me to take you in this process step by step of the way. I know it's a long journey, but it's a journey that's going to be so well worth it. Like I said, if I had someone like this to show me a long time ago, I probably won't be here today, because I'd probably have so much money by now I would not even be doing courses. Probably not. I'm not sure. But I'm here now, and fate has put us all together, and let's learn it the right way. Let's do it all in the right way. Okay? So we're shortening your learning curve a lot, and I'm sure most of you guys are already profitable from what I already see, but this is going to help refine it even more. Okay, let's take a look at some more supplies here. Here we go. Markets are here. Let's take a look at this one. There's a rise here, temporary halt for one candle, and then a dramatic drop. Now, why in the world does this, if I take the top piece of that and I say that price is important, why doesn't that hold in the market? What happened to my sell there? Why isn't that sell holding? Well, let's take a look at these buyers. Buyers are going up, pull back. Buyers are going up, pull back. Okay, let's draw it out. Here's buyers, let me keep this like that. Okay, buyers go up, buyers pull back. Buyers go up, buyers pull back. Okay, 50% pullback now. Then buyers go up. Whoa, he went up further. Buyers pull back less. Buyers go up again, higher. Now higher high sequence, getting stronger, and then we see this big dramatic drop here. Does that look real to you? No, that's not real. That's not real. That's how we can know probes and fake outs and spikes can happen, because we know these things are not reliable. Hence, the reverse happens. It turns into a fantastic demand, which can actually help you. Okay, now let's go into the next video discussing demands.